Welcome to my Castlevania Symphony of the Night fast run walkthrough. If you've already played through Symphony of the Night, and you'd like to beat it in under 2 hours, you want to learn some easy tricks to make this game a cakewalk, or if you're interested in learning some quirky things about the game, then I think you will find this video useful. In the first section I'll talk about some rudimentary tips, as well as some disclaimers. Then the second section will be the fast run walkthrough with some pretty simple sequence breaks and strategies that you're capable of, even if you're not a hardcore gamer. The last section will be a showcase of some lesser known weapons and attacks. The major tip that you should take away is that a majority of spells and a lot of actions in this game make Alucard invincible for a short period. That means if you do something like Soul Steal, the Alucard sword special attack, a wing smash in bat mode, or even a potion, you'll be invulnerable to attacks briefly, and you can chain these actions together infinitely to avoid being hit. Also, be warned, I spam this Iron Shield combo in this video a lot, so you should get used to it. Richter requires some practice to get his physical attacks down consistently. In his move list, his dash slash is the best in terms of invincibility and damage, but if you're having trouble with that, his uppercut works pretty well, and it's easier to execute. The sub-weapons you pick and how long it takes to defeat Dracula and how much damage you take affect his starting bonuses, but personally I don't think it's that important. The first fight against Slavgray and Gaben is pretty straightforward. I'd like to open up with a Tetra Soul because it does a lot of damage, and then crouch and do a punch combo. If he actually has to throw any fireballs, you can block it with his shield. And if you have a shield, you can do a little teabag animation. If you can afford the detour, I'd like to go for the Jewel Knuckle early in the outer wall. You pretty much have to stand on the corner for 30 seconds, so it's a little tedious. I speed it up here. But the Jewel Knuckle does a lot of damage. The Mirror Cuirass is negligible improvement in defense. Against the Doppelganger, there are a few things you can do. If you just want to have a straightforward battle, then it's a standoff of just inching your way in with jumping attacks, and watching out for when he goes into bat mode when he goes into the corner. It can take a while. If you have Jewel Knuckle, your kick attacks are also increased. The easiest thing to do is make sure you have the stopwatch from when you're passing through the middle part of the map. This is easy even without the Jewel Knuckle. If you make this backtrack here after obtaining wolf form, you can get a nice jewel that you can sell, which will put you in just about enough money to get an iron shield, which is really important when you get the shield rod. It's helpful to open up the teleporter at this point, whether or not you actually intend to use it or not. But I like to do this backtrack, as we just bought the Jewel of Open. And it puts you in the next area pretty quickly. This is a little sequence break that you may find useful. You don't have to go up to the top of the map to get the double jump. If you transform into wolf mode, you can get a jumping leap attack onto the candle and then jump up. And this will put you into the Colosseum a little bit faster. Fighting your way through this room is really important. There's a shield rod at the end of it. Personally, I like to do a Soul Steal and then maneuver my way in. And you can see here that Inferno and then a shield will get you through, but you can use a couple different spells. Once you have the shield rod, even if you don't have the double jump yet, it makes this fight against the Minotaur and the Werewolf pretty easy. The shield rod combo does a lot of damage with the Iron Shield. You pretty much only need that the rest of the game. But if you don't have it, you can still beat them just fine. Especially if you have a Jewel Knuckle. You can take out the Minotaur right away. and then engage the werewolf for some close range combat, which is a little tricky. You have to get him in the pattern, and range is very important. So having a sword or using the shield rod itself is pretty helpful in engaging him. Definitely use the library card that you just got in order to go back to the library at this point. If you didn't get the Iron Shield earlier, then now is the perfect time to get it. And there's another sequence break you can do after that, using the same trick that we used before to turn to the wolf and then bounce off the book to get into this area. But it's not much of a helpful sequence break, because once you drop down to the lower area, and you won't be able to jump back unless you're able to get Bat, which is why you need the mist before you even attempt this. Without the mist, you won't be able to get the Bat and then return. So while we could technically do the sequence break earlier, it's not very helpful. And then the sequence break will bring us into getting one of the rings, which is necessary to get the holy glasses from Maria. There is a popular sequence break that speedrunners like to do to skip ahead the Richter fight altogether, but I don't like to do that one. I don't find it to be very reliable. This one is very reliable to do. Just use an item or a potion to get past the spikes. Just try and mash on the button, and the invincibility of using the item will carry you through. And all the bosses can be defeated using the Iron Shield combo, which is very helpful. Interestingly, I noted that if you get the ring first and then do the Hippogriff battle, Maria doesn't show up at the end of the cutscene, so it's kind of interesting that the game developers are tracking Maria's progress in the story, and she shows up at different periods whether or not you've interacted with her already. You'll have to use your Jewel of Open to unlock the underground area, because the other ring that's required to get the Holy Glasses and to meet Maria requires fighting the Succubus, or the area closer to where the Grim Reaper will be, Death, if you do the underground castle later, the inverted castle. However you decide to fight her, it's going to be pretty easy. Even her illusions don't really matter that much. Especially the Iron Shield combo, which will sweep across all of her illusions. Earlier I got the Mystic Pendant, which I find to be one of the worthwhile accessories to get, because it refills your MP faster, and you do burn up a lot of MP in this game, a lot of mana, for spells and for wing smashes, and especially for the Iron Shield spell. After you have the Holy Glasses, you can defeat Richter without getting the bad ending, and you can progress to the inverted castle. And none of the bosses should really be posing a problem for you right now. The Iron Shield combo is effective, but it's still just doing medium damage, so they will take a minute or so to defeat them even still, but should not pose a problem. Using the sequence break earlier to get past the spikes, we didn't have to fight Aurochs in the first half, but we fight the mummy here. And this is kind of the order that I like to do for the inverted castle, but it depends a little bit. You can handle Medusa earlier if you prefer, rather than fight Frankenstein's monster and go for the mummy. And either way, you have to make a little bit of a trek to find Death in what was previously the underground area. And death is pretty easy. If anything, his first form is slightly harder than the second, but he's a pushover like the other bosses, all the same. I would definitely encourage players to just experiment with whatever they find to be fun or helpful in this run. Like, if they didn't like doing the spike sequence breaker, then they could certainly fight Olrox and get the Bat Sonar and get the spike breaker armor to do that way. It's really personal preference. And at that point, you're ready to fight Shaft and Dracula, and it's a very straightforward fight. No help needed. Thank you for watching this video, and feel free to comment below, and please subscribe. I hope that this video has been helpful in discerning the miserable pile of secrets in this game. And happy vampire hunting!